Okay, I will now call to order the Wytheville Town Council meeting Monday, September 11th, 2023 at 5 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 150 East Monroe Street, Wytheville, Virginia, 24382. We do have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Gary Gilman.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will need a motion to accept and approve the agenda for this evening.
I so move that we approve the agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any conversation? If not, this is going to be a roll call vote. And we'll go ahead and start with Councilman Gilman.
Gilman, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, aye. Johnson, aye.
And if need be, there can be a recess around 6 p.m. if necessary. Next is the consent agenda. Now I need a motion to accept as presented or somehow amended. The consent agenda includes the minutes of the work session and the regular meeting of August 28, 2023. I need a motion. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. That motion passes. Next on the agenda is presentation to Town Council by Downtown Wytheville Incorporated Executive Director Todd Wilford regarding the facade program.
Thank you all. I don't have a presentation. I've already done the presentation. I'm just here to answer any questions on behalf of the program that you guys got in your packet. Don't have any? That's great too.
Thank you for all of your hard work and just going through it. I appreciate it.
Mr. Wilford, the only one I had was when will the applications be, I guess, out, and when can someone start?
Yeah, as soon as it's reinstated, if it's reinstated tonight, they'll go out tomorrow.
And is there any that's prior, or it will just go out tomorrow?
It'll just go out tomorrow, first come, first serve. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. For consideration for the Town Council to approve the facade program, I will need a motion.
I so move.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second, is there any discussion? All right, here none. This is a roll call vote, and we'll start with Councilwoman Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Gilman, aye.
The ayes have it, the motion passes. So
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr.
move
Wilford.
forward.
Run with it, Todd. Run with it.
All right, so next on the agenda is citizens period, and I have one person that has signed up to speak at citizens period, and that would be Ms. Rodriguez. No, Rodriguez. Yes. Would you please come to the podium and state your name and address for the minutes, please.
I'm Talia Rodriguez. Address is 210 West Spring Street, Wytheville, Virginia. Yes.
Everybody.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the Town Council, my name is Talia Rodriguez. It is my great pleasure and honor to address you today as the market manager and representative of the board of directors of the Wytheville Farmers Market. We are here to address a matter that came to our knowledge just 2 days ago. We have come to the understanding that the Wytheville Farmers Market building has come under request for use of a warming shelter. While we are not opposed to a warming shelter in the community to help address people who are experiencing homelessness, the board of directors believes that this could significantly disrupt our market operations for several compelling reasons. Our vendors have entered into contracts and paid fees to participate in our market. The Wytheville Farmers Market is the primary or secondary source of income for many small businesses within our community. We provide essential amenities like secure storage, restrooms, and heating for our vendors, which are major reasons why they choose to participate in our market. Several vendors, particularly elderly and disabled individuals, are unable to move their belongings multiple times during the winter season. Moving our equipment and valuables for shelter use on a regular basis would be impractical and cost prohibitive for vendors who travel very long distances. Our limited storage space doubles as our office, and we have plans to expand our office needs. We are actively working on expanding our operations during the winter months and beyond the current twice-a-month market days. Concerns regarding security, safeguarding belongings, cleanliness, and heating efficiency require careful consideration and planning. Vendors will often comment about how the heat doesn't reach their booth. If this project were to move forward and the farmers market to be forced to be used as a warming shelter, many vendors will be forced to find a new venue to sell their goods, therefore it could result in the market ceasing to exist, particularly in the winter season. Vendors whose contracts are breached and are forced to vacate would require reimbursement for space fees and loss of sales, and who will assume a responsibility for those costs. We wish to remind the council that the Wytheville Farmers Market building was acquired with funds from the Wythplan Foundation for the sole purpose of the market's use as long as we continue to operate. We are also bound by a lease agreement. If you have not yet had the opportunity to visit the Wytheville Farmers Market, we extend a warm invitation to join us one Saturday morning to see what that's like. The Wytheville Farmers Market is not just a hub for entrepreneurship. It is a place that fosters community connections with local farmers, supports local agriculture, helps provide as much access as possible to healthy and fresh food, and provides nurturing nutritional education programs. In conclusion, we request that the council carefully consider the implications of this request to use the market building as a warming shelter and explore alternative solutions that serve our community's vulnerable populations and the vital interests of the Wytheville Farmers Market and our community as a whole. Thank you so much for your time and allowing us to speak on this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's nobody else that has signed the sign-in sheet that they would want to speak at citizen time, but if there is anybody out there that wants to speak, we will. So we're going to move forward with our agenda. And next on the agenda is to consider the request of the Wytheville Police Department and the Wytheville Fire and Rescue Department to close a portion of Spring and Church Street on October 31st, 2023, from 4:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. for the Church Street Trunk or Treat event. I believe we have a little presentation by Assistant Town Manager Elaine Holton.
Good evening. All right, so we have 3 street closure applications before you this evening. I'll probably just stay at the podium if that's okay. Each of these will require a motion and a vote from you to approve them. Each of them have been vetted by the Safety and Events Committee, and they have agreed to send the proposals to you with a recommendation that you approve all 3 of them. So the first one on your agenda is the Trunk or Treat event, and that is held every year. Luckily, we have strong participation from our public safety departments. Both our fire and our police departments will be intimately involved in that event this year. You will see a map in your packet that indicates the street closure. And as you can see, the time for the street closure is going to be from 4:30 to 9:30 p.m. And hopefully you guys will all get to enjoy that event, stop in and see the young people trunk or treating. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
I have one question. So is this event still under the umbrella of the town's insurance, that I think we started last year or the year before, is that right? Or?
So from what I understand, this is a partnership between our public safety departments and the original founder of the event. And I'm sorry, I don't recall her name, but there we go. Thank you. And essentially the churches historically have been doing been the primary sponsor of this event. And then last year, the public safety departments teamed up with Miss Wright. So this would be the second year that our public safety departments have had more of a presence. And I believe, Sherry, we did consult with you last year, and our public safety departments are covered under our town insurance.
I think that was a good move for the town and the departments to do that for the churches.
Yes, ma'am.
Is Ms. Wright still involved?
She is, yes.
Any other questions, concerns?
And it's went on many years.
So we will need a motion.
That we approve this trunk and treat event.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hear none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye as well. Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Next is a consideration to request of Downtown Wytheville Incorporated to close Main Street from 5th Street to 4th Street and a portion of Church, Tazewell, and First Streets on Saturday, October 28, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the 2023 Mayhem on Main Street event.
Thank you. So as you see in your packet, the item under 10B is the Mayhem on Main street closure request. You do have a map in your packet. This route has been used quite a few times in the past. It's essentially Main Street with Tazewell Street and what's the other name of that street there that you'll be using? First. Sorry, the street's not labeled. Anyhow, this event has occurred for several years. It's a very well-known event, and I believe they're planning activities for all age groups throughout the day. So it sounds like a fun time. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them, but also we have Todd here if there's any I can't answer.
So the organizer is Downtown Wytheville.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions? Consultant? All right, if not, I'll need a motion.
So moved.
A motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion and second, is there any discussion? I hear none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye as well. Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Next on the list is to consider the request of the town of Wytheville Department of Museums to close Tazewell Street from its intersection with Monroe Street to the Boyd Museum on Friday, October 13th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for the Rock House reopening and 200th birthday celebration. And again,
Okay, thank you. As you all know, the Rock House has undergone a major transformation, and we are pleased to report that it will have its grand opening on September the 13th. This street closure was requested by the Department of Museums to allow those who may be attending the event to park in this municipal parking lot and safely walk across Tazewell Street. So the the street closure request is from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and the police department has given us their assurance that they can safely close the street for this segment.
Is that October 13th?
September.
This print.
You're right. It is October the 13th on the application. They put September. Thank you.
anything else from Ms. Holton? Bless you. All right, if nothing, I need a motion. A motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. No, any opposed? All right, that motion passes, and thank you, Ms. Atkins, for being diligent on that. Next is to consider youth member appointment to the Wytheville Recreation Commission to fill the expired term of Ms. Mackenzie Tate. Term expires August 1, 2023, and we'll have a report from Town Clerk Sherry Portman.
As you'll see in your package, you have one application for consideration of appointment for the youth member. And this would be for a one-year term that would expire August 1st, 2024. And you could either make the appointment or you could schedule a meet and greet session with applicant.
All right, so do we have a motion?
I don't know this person. Does anybody on the board know this person? Do we want to talk to them, meet them?
I would say the last one we just did, I'm not sure if anybody did that yet. As well.
All right. I don't think we do. I think just to
Go ahead and approve them.
Do I have a motion?
personally.
We have a motion, we have a second. That motion, we have a name.
It's Ms. Ethan Miller.
And they know it, but I don't know.
We have a motion to, for Ms. Eden Nicole Miller. We have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? I hear none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye as well. Any opposed? All right, hearing none. Motion is adopted. So congratulations. All right, next on the agenda is consideration of scheduling a special town council meeting on Wednesday, October 11th, 2023 at 5 p.m. and scheduling a public hearing for this meeting to consider a bond in the maximum amount of $848,000 to be used to acquire a refuse truck and dehumidification unit for the town. And I think we'll have a presentation by Town Manager Brian Freeman.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Really just want to give you just a very basic understanding of why we're asking for a special meeting. Subsection 15.2-2606 of the Code of Virginia for public hearings before issuance of bonds has a very, I'll call, peculiar or stringent set of rules on when the bond hearing can be held relative to when the advertising dates were. And I'll just give you the nuts and bolts here. It says first notice of hearing no more than 14 days before the hearing. And the second caveat being the hearing shall not be less than 6 nor more than 21 days after the second hearing. So no matter how we try to push this through our calendar, it simply does not work on a Monday night. It will not work with any of the publications that we use, any of the advertising dates that they can meet, or any of the council's current meeting times. So with that in mind, we are recommending that you schedule this for Wednesday, October the 11th, 2023 at 5 p.m. in council chambers, and that would be the only agenda item for that evening. Be the public hearing and then consideration of approving your staff to finalize the bond documents. Go ahead. Do you have a question? Let's hear it.
Can we so kindly bump it to Thursday? Would that cause a problem?
You can do Thursday. Let's see. I think every single option we looked at pushes us to Wednesday. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Because, and I'll read it again for you. It's really peculiar. It says first notice of hearing no more than 14 days before the hearing. And then if you skip down several lines, and then it says the hearing shall not be held less than 6 nor more than 21 days after the date of the second notice appears. So every way we've worked, it pushes us to a Wednesday, unfortunately.
What about 4 o'clock, Mr. Freeman? If people have church.
That would be fine with, I think we'd be fine with. Staff would certainly enjoy a 4 o'clock if you all would.
Let's do 4 o'clock, if y'all don't mind.
Be okay, Madam Chairman?
Okay.
I won't be.
So I think that would just be you all just need to set the public hearing.
So we need to, we need to set.
Just need a motion and a vote. Motion second.
So we need a motion to set the public hearing for 4 p.m. on October 11, 2023 instead of 5. And also have a special town council meeting on that same day. I need that motion.
I'd like to make a motion for us to amend the town council meeting from 5 o'clock to 4 o'clock on October 13th, 2023. No, wait a minute. Is that, do I have the right date? October 11th. October the 11th, 2023. Sorry about that. And do you want to do 2 motions at the same time, or just entertain them one and then move on? Doing both? All right. Now, so move that we have the public hearing also on October the 11th, 2023.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Mayor Taylor.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? All right, here none. This requires all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Next on the agenda is continued review of the policy guidance on event safety, street closures, and traffic control. And Ms. Holton.
Thank you for giving us another opportunity this evening to talk about this policy guidance. As you recall from our last meeting, we had a work session where we went through the guidance and we had a conversation about the things that the council liked and didn't like and some potential edits. You will see in your packets the revised version that I took your comments and I made my best effort to try to reflect your concerns. So this evening, I'm just here to listen. If there's additional changes that you would like, if for some reason I didn't hit the nail on the head with what you asked for the last time, I'm happy to revisit any of these items. You will notice in your handouts that the sections that I worked on, I just put a little highlight over the number. My hope is that we can consider a motion to adopt this tonight if you are satisfied with the policy, but there's no hurry. So if you feel like we need another meeting, we can do that as well. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
On number 13, on page 5 of 11, I noticed it was changed from the approval of the town council, and then it went to the town leadership instead of council. So I don't know why that was.
Okay. Essentially, I think the point that Town Manager Freeman made that may come up at an event is, for example, let's say that we're having an event downtown and something was happening that was not acceptable to one of our public safety officers that typically attend these events and do the street closures. That's why I put the town leadership team shall discover, because it would be those in department level positions that might witness something. You'll notice later in the policy, what I thought I heard from the last meeting was that the town manager would make the call to cancel the event with consultation by the town council.
Thank you.
Sure.
And one thing, Ms. Holden, when these applications are done, are they already approved before town council has a chance to approve them?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
We're very upfront in our guidance to the event applicants that the town council has the final say in the matter.
So will things be advertised before that, or can we hold off on advertising before, like council has a chance to vote? Is there any way that somewhere that can be written in there?
Certainly, I'd be happy to make that adjustment. That the recommendation is that event organizers withhold all advertising until they get final approval from the town council.
So I just would hate to backtrack and say, sorry,
Right.
we can't hold that. So, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good point, Holly. Good point.
Any other concerns or considerations or? So I think at this time that Ms. Holton would like for us to, with what was just added, are we comfortable enough at this point with those two changes and going ahead and voting this evening? Everybody agree with that? All right, so I will need a motion. Motion states
That we approve the changes made to the.
the event safety street closure. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
With that other being added.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, and then all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And so that one passes.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work and effort and understanding with all our questions and concerns.
Thank you, Ms. Holton.
All right, next on the agenda is new business. And we have reports, first by Town Manager Brian Freeman. Staff reports.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Obviously, for town staff, and I think for the council too, and certainly the citizens that use 20th Street Bridge, one of the biggest developments that's occurred in the last 2 weeks since we met was the closure of the 20th Street Bridge. This was the result of a call I received on August 30th from the VDOT Bristol District Bridge Safety Inspection Manager, who indicated that he felt the bridge was very unsafe and should be closed. So we did that immediately. That was out of an abundance of caution. Certainly, it is an inconvenience to those who were relying upon it, but their safety was first and foremost, and we took action immediately. And I would anticipate that will remain closed indefinitely. At this time, we're working diligently to identify the next steps for the repair or replacement of the bridge. As many of you know, the bridge's steel and masonry structure was constructed around 1911 by Norfolk Southern, who maintains ownership and control of everything below the bridge deck, including most of the deteriorated and unsafe structural elements forcing its closure. Lacking total ownership of the bridge does complicate matters, but we're committed to seeking every alternative available to remedy the situation. In the interim, the safety of the adjoining neighborhood and those relying upon the bridge to access their homes and properties is our number one concern. As such, we're developing plans and exploring all available options to ensure that emergency response is not compromised for the citizens of this area. Of utmost importance is ensuring that multiple paths of ingress and egress are available in the event that West Railroad Avenue was deemed unpassable. That could be for a variety of reasons. I mean, I don't want to be too we've talked about what would happen if you had a train derailment. What if you had a chemical spill? What if you could not get under the underpass on 21? That would severely limit our ability to get over there for an evacuation or to even to tend to a patient. I will note that currently at the 5-ton load rating, that Fire and EMS was unable to use that structure anyway. They were relying upon West Railroad Avenue already. But this, sort of, I'll call it the blessing in disguise, has got us thinking more intently about how we will address that situation should these events arise. So I've tasked Fire and EMS with coming up with some incident management plans, and we hope within a couple of months we'll have some pretty, we should have the makings and the ideas of them in the coming weeks, but within a few months I'm hoping we'll have some concrete strategies on how they'll deal with that. One of those is that we're looking at in the interim, and I've made contact with an adjacent property owner who has very graciously offered to allow us to access the rear of these properties through his property. There is an access road off of Lee Street that is gated, and there's an old farm use road cut in there that's not in very good shape, but I think we'll be able to work out something with this property owner to improve that road, and in an emergency situation be able to access from the 14th Street side. So that's a pretty big development, and again, we're very gracious to have had that not offered to us, but accepted our offer to maybe use it. So I will report back on that to you all as soon as we have something a little more concrete there. We'd like to go with staff, with our critical staff and those that might be working on it, meet with the property owner, drive it, and see what it's like, and see if that can be improved. The other things we're looking very closely at is the possible completion of Madison Street. Currently, West Madison Street is not completed. There's a fairly large grade change and a perennial stream that runs through there. So there's probably a 20 to 25-year-old set of engineering drawings here for a VDOT compliant road, but I've asked engineering to scale that down to a passable road, maybe not necessarily a VDOT compliant road, just to give us something that would give us another option to get over to that neighborhood in an emergency situation. In addition to that, we will be reaching out to Norfolk Southern and asking for some cooperation there, and hopefully we'll get that. But I'll be frank, I'm not going to hold my breath.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
just give the citizens that live on that way some peace that even though you're saying this may come to fruition in weeks or months, but if something were to happen tonight, there is access.
There is gated access across Lee Street, and we have already been given verbal approval to utilize that road. The other thing to keep in mind there, in talking with some of my public safety personnel, they have the ability to go to ingress in an emergency situation even without approval. So we jokingly, and I don't mean to joke in a situation like this, but we jokingly talked about sort of an A-team type approach where we may just, we're coming. I mean, so we do have permission already to use it. It's just not a very good road. So we need to make sure that the vehicles can get across it as it is. And if they can't, we need to see if we can make some pretty quick improvements to basically a dirt and rocky road. It's just an old farm road. But Fire and EMS in particular is aware of the situation. We've looked at this extensively in the mapping. We've talked about all the grade crossings and all the potential issues that maybe that could arise. And if there was a situation in which the underpass at 21 was completely impassable, we would try to go from the Lee Street side. We would also have Speedwell en route, and whoever gets there first is going to get there first. But those are some of the options that are already out there and well known, but we're going to try to make these plans a little more concrete pretty soon. So thank you for that question. Other few announcements here. The indoor pool at the Wytheville Community Center actually closed on September 9th, and that is for the replacement of the dehumidifier system. As you all know, that system is failing, and that is what part of the bond hearing that you will have that you just scheduled is for. During this time, McWayne Pool will be open to the public for day passes and available to those with silver and gold membership pass plans. I think we would typically have already closed the pool on Labor Day, but just because of this inconvenience to our community center members, we're going to try to keep McWayne open during this time. McWayne Pool hours will be Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Also on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Sundays from 1 to 5:30 p.m. weather permitting.
Mr. Freeman, may I ask a question, please?
Sure.
Excuse me. Maybe next year, is that a possibility? That's something that they can look into because of
Going ahead and extend it.
the heat and everything. And
Yeah, I think we can talk about that. I think certainly that the pool and the hours is always a hot topic around budget time, so I think it'd be appropriate to bring it up then.
Okay,
but certainly, I think we can look at that. I think it's staffing, as long as we have staffing, but that will be a challenge. I haven't talked to Josh about this, but.
And that's something you all can talk
Yeah,
about.
we can figure it out. Yeah, I think right now we're able to trade out the indoor staffing to do the outdoor. It might get a little more dicey if both facilities were open at the same time, but we'll try.
30 degrees outside, it's like.
Yeah, we tend to, and I don't know our exact staffing situation on lifeguards right now, but we can find out. But we do tend to have a lot of college students who are already gone, and the lifeguard staffing does tend to dwindle
Thank you.
right around school start. Lodging tax follow-up at our last meeting. A few questions came up that I want to just provide you some clarity on. One of those was how we derive the 1%, what 1 cent was valued at. We based that, the number I gave you at the last meeting was based on what we had budgeted, but you all asked me to provide an assessment based on the 2022-23 actuals. And since we did just close the books on that, we're able to do that now. A 1 cent increase in lodging tax based on 22-23 actuals is $272,000, $272,200.97 to be precise. So I'll repeat that because I would normally put this on a slide for you, but I didn't get it up today. $272,200.97 is the 1 cent, the value of 1 cent last year's fiscal year actuals. There was also a question about the lodging tax for City of Bristol, and they did in fact raise their lodging tax to 13 cents or 13%, just based on how you want to say it, during their budgeting process this year. So that was absolutely correct. I had pulled that, and I think even today it's still in their city code at 9 cents, which was their prior assessment. And I went to everyone's code wanting to get the official word, but a lot of media outlets are reporting that Bristol did go to 13 cents this year. So I just wanted to clarify that for the record for you all. One other quick announcement, and then I'll be done, and you may have some questions. The Heritage Preservation Center's HVAC has gone out. It's a 21-year-old unit, and finally has taken its last breath. So I've asked Grant Gerlich to get some quotes and told him to go ahead and get that replacement scheduled. The total cost on that is $9,900, just nearly $10,000. So in consulting with Mr. Stevens, he recommended that we seek a budget amendment and amend and appropriate that money. We won't ask you to do that tonight. We'll bring it back to you in 2 weeks. So just be alert that system's failed and it has to be replaced. And these things happen. I think we lost one in museums last year, year before. We're starting to see a lot of these older systems go out. PD lost one last year. A lot of these were 20-year-old systems that were put in around the same time, and they're all starting to kind of fail on us. So just be aware.
You said it was the air unit.
It's actually the heat pump itself, the compressor. They put a fan in it a few months ago. They did get a quote to just do a compressor, which was $4,000. But with the age of everything attached, it's I think it makes sense to just go ahead and put it all back in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Thank you.
So next on the agenda is upcoming meetings, and this will be presented by Town Clerk Sherry Gordon.
Thank you, Taylor. The Wytheville Planning Commission will meet on Thursday, September the 14th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. Downtown Wytheville Incorporated will meet on Monday, September the 18th at 5:30 at the Downtown Wytheville office. The Wytheville Redevelopment and Housing Authority will meet on Wednesday, September 20th at 12 p.m. at the Housing Authority office. The New River Regional Water Authority will meet on Thursday, September 21st at 10 a.m. at the New River Regional Water Authority plant. District 3 will meet on Thursday, September 21st at 6 p.m. at the Marion office. And the next regular scheduled meeting of the Wytheville Town Council will be held on Monday, September 25th at 5 p.m. here in the council chambers.
Thank you very much. So moving forward, we have council member time, and if the council will let me, I'd like to be first tonight. So as Councilwoman Johnson had previously said, this is 911, and with the blessing of the town and the community churches, we were able to do a breakfast for them early this morning, and that was received very well. And so I want to thank all the input from all the churches in the town and everyone. I want to thank Councilwoman Johnson, who is also a first responder, for her efforts and job, but also as helping with this breakfast this morning and making it a great success.
Thank you. I also want to thank you as well. You did a good job, so thank you.
One other sign, Gypsy, we want to thank them for this big sign that they put out there thanking and our folks at home. So, all right. So, Councilman, Darren?
I don't have anything at this time, but I'll reserve the right.
I reserve the right to come back.
I'm back already. I'm going to read this to you that we had put together for our first responders. And it says, thank you on it. September 11, 2023, on this, the 22nd anniversary of the September 11th attack on our country, we take time to remember the brave men and women who selfishly responded to the call for help on that fateful day. In their honor, we are remembering and thanking our own local heroes for responding to the calls of our Wytheville and Wythe County citizens. We appreciate your time, courage, and devotion in protecting us, our friends, families, and community members, as well as those traveling through our area. Our local churches continue to pray at each service that as our first responders, you are both blessed and protected. These pleas for your safety and our well wishes are repeated in personal prayers each day. We hope you will taste God's blessings in your breakfast, which they had this morning, as a heartfelt thank you and our appreciation of your everyday sacrifices to keep our community safe. With sincere gratitude, the community who thanks you. Next.
I wish I could have been there. I had a procedure at Wake this morning, so but I do want to thank everyone. People lives lost that day. But right now, Mayor Taylor, I don't have anything, but I'll reserve the right.
Ms. Johnson.
I do not have anything, but I reserve the right to come back.
Any questions about anything that's in your packet? Anything else for council this evening before we go into a closed session? So we are now going to go into a closed session, and the closed sessions will consist of closed meeting pursuant to 2.23711 A1. Discussion regarding the town attorney position requires motion and a vote. We'll do these all together. Closed meeting pursuant to 2.23711A3, discussion regarding acquisition and disposition of real property to be used for public purpose. Next is a closed meeting pursuant to 2.2-3711A7, consultation with legal counsel pertaining to probable litigation. And next is a closed meeting pursuant to 2.23711A1, discussion regarding the performance and salaries of appointed employees. I will need a motion to all four of those go into closed session.
I'm sorry.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion? All right. Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye as well. For the 3-minute break, we'll go ahead and go into closed session. Okay. It is now necessary to reconvene into open session by stating that town council is now in open session. I will need a motion necessary to certify that only matters lawfully convening to open session were discussed. I need a motion
So move.
and a second.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to amend, I guess, and I hope I say it.
This is
We
the
need to
certification.
Well, this
Sorry.
is. My bad. Thanks for correcting.
Yes.
Any discussion? Right. Roll call vote.
Johnson.
We're closing session. That's what we're doing.
Huh?
We're
Yes,
closing
opening
session.
back up. Johnson.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Anderson, aye.
Yeah, on that.
We are now in open session.
Yes, I'd like to amend the agenda if I can, closed session, and I may say this wrong, I apologize.
Not the agenda closed session.
Be a motion to amend the agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda to discuss an appointed employee's salary and, can I list names? Okay. I would like to look at possibly giving a raise, not really raise, I guess, because I believe it's extra duties for a FOIA request officer. I do not think this person has been compensated over the years. I don't know her years or
We
whatever.
just need to get, we're going to get that in discussion.
Okay. Anyway, I just like to look as a, and I apologize.
So we have a motion to amend our agenda to discuss,
An increase for extra duties for an employee, Sherry Corbin.
we have a motion.
Yes, ma'am. And I apologize, but thank
Do we
you.
have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Taylor and council, this is why I'm asking for a compensation for extra duty for the FOIA officer for Ms. Corbin. We have since learned that after the raises were given to appointed, that council can also change the amount or give the raise. And I'd like to see some extra compensation given to Ms. Corbin because she does do, from my understanding, an excellent job on FOIA requests. It's not a raise just for her prior job, but I do not think that she has been supplemented for that. I could be wrong, but I know we were advised that we did need to do compensation for that, or in some cases in other localities, they do have a full-time person that does take responsibility of that.
Any other discussion?
I agree that if it is a full-time position in other localities, then Ms. Corbin needs to be compensated for the job that she's doing if she has not been compensated. And I want to do the right thing when it comes to employees.
Any other discussion?
I know before the other raises before in the past, can I discuss that, Mr. Castle?
The discussion is like,
Okay, I think it was a large sum to different appointed employees before in the past, and I'm asking that this be justified as an extra job duty that she does do, not just a raise. I do want to clarify myself on that. That council is capable, from my understanding, that we can make that decision, and we were just made aware of that not too long ago. And it's hard to do, and Ms. Corbin, I hate to have to do this if it's on the spot, but we've tried to do it and just can't come to an agreement. I'm sorry. I hate it as anybody else. But
So we have a motion. Was there a number with that motion?
there was a motion and a second to amend your agenda, Madam Mayor. That's where you're at.
Oh, there was. We have motion second. Any further discussion about amending the?
No, ma'am.
All right, so we are voting on amending the agenda. And that probably takes a roll call vote. So it's not over here with you, Gary?
Anderson, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Johnson, aye.
So we have an amendment to the agenda, and the amendment is what you were saying.
Yes, ma'am, it's not a raise, it's for the extra duty of a 4-year officer. I just do want to make that clear.
So we have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I didn't hear any amount, just the motion was to provide compensation for you, so I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, we can put an amount out there.
If somebody's voting on it.
Okay, I know before it was previously discussed by, of $10,000 because of the fact, prior appointees, I believe, have received a couple have received approximately the raise, from my understanding. I could be wrong. I just want to state that for the record. Do you, well, I don't want to get Mr.
We
Freeman
need to
involved.
confirm the second, Madam Mayor, clarification.
We have a motion
And I'm willing for a discussion. I mean,
motion, and we have a second for that amount of money as not a raise, but
for doing job duties that she is, I don't know, Ms. Corbin, can she answer? I don't want to put her on the spot, but okay, I don't know how many
You
years.
don't have a second yet, so the discussion hasn't started.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Well, I know, Mayor Taylor, I'm just
Okay,
trying
I'm
to,
sorry.
no, ma'am, I hate to do this, but approximately how many years have you done the FOIA requests? I mean, right, been the officer?
Um,
And I hate to put you on the spot, I apologize.
well, it's hard to remember exactly, but I did it before. And then when Chris Minnery came, he took over for like a year or so. And then when Michelle Clayton came back, she did want the duty, so it came back to me several years ago.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I am asking if she can be justified, like I said, not a raise, but for duties that she's done over the years. And I'd like to compensate her for that.
Sheriff, I have a question. When you took over as FOIA officer, were you compensated extra for that?
I don't recall, Councilman Gilman. Honestly, there were several closed meetings about salaries that I was excluded from, and I was given compensation in 2021. But on the form, it just says reevaluation of my job duties. So I don't know what all was discussed in the closed meetings. So I don't have any idea if I was compensated or not.
You doing the FOIA officer before that, prior to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Any further discussion?
Like I said, I'm open. If anybody wants to look at a different amount, I'm open to different amount. If anybody's willing to throw a number out there for those that are not sort of in agreement. And again, Ms. Corbin, I hate to put this. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No, it's not for me.
It is not okay. And I do apologize as well. It should never be put on
In
the
this
spot in a situation like this. It should have already been taken care of. I apologize.
No, absolutely. Come on. All right, so any further discussion?
Mayor Taylor, yes, I did have to come out here
Any further discussion?
because I feel I want to do what's right
Okay.
by the employee. It did not have to come to this.
All right, any other discussion? All right, so we'll do a roll call vote. We'll start with.
I do want to ask a question. Would any other amount is what I'm asking. Would you all consider?
I didn't think I heard any reply.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm still learning there.
Fine.
Yes, you are.
I think that Ms. Corbin should be compensated if she's doing other duties and has not been compensated for them. She needs to be, her salary needs to be adjusted to the proper amount. And so I'm going to say, yay. I'm going to do what's right. Let it not be said of Councilwoman Johnson that, she hasn't done right by the appointed employees.
I'm fully in agreement with that, and I am asking that if some money is not granted, I would like that duty to be removed from her job
A
description.
whole different discussion. We're not voting on that right now.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, no.
Patterson, no.
Gilman,
Is there any further information to come, Council?
Can I add something to that? Can I ask for that to be removed from her now, or do we need to just bring it back up?
You have to go through the whole process, Madam, because it's not on the
Okay,
agenda.
no, that's fine.
You have to go through that whole
Okay, just put it
process.
on the agenda. Okay, thank you.
All right, any further discussion?
From this point on, I would appreciate it that any appointed salaries, they need to come from council. And they need to be discussed by council.
And again, that can be put on, you
Because-
can either add that with a motion to amend tonight, or you can put that on a future agenda.
We can put that on a future agenda. Well, let's just go ahead and amend it tonight.
Because that's what we did talk about that in the back room too.
So it's not forgotten. I'd like to make an amendment to tonight's agenda that all appointed salaries need to be decided upon by council. That is in the code section, am I correct, Mr. Castle? That is in the code section, am I
Yes, I
correct?
have reference the code section too.
I want to make sure that.
Sorry.
All right.
Is that the motion?
So it's a motion to amend the agenda to discuss acquiring the back to half. That's what I heard.
I'd like to second that.
The motion to amend this, and we have a second. Any further discussion? None, all in favor? Roll call, excuse me. Gary?
No, we're amending, right? Another amendment.
That's what this is.
Atkins, aye.
Johnson, aye.
All right, so now it is open for, we need a motion.
A motion that all appointed salaries be discussed, voted upon by council.
By code. By code, Mr.
According to
Castle.
the Code of Virginia.
You don't have to.
Or is that, no? Okay.
It's town code, but you don't.
Okay.
An amendment, all salaries be discussed and voted on.
By council.
For appointed.
For appointed, yeah.
For appointed.
Appointed.
Which I don't think's been done, so I'd like to follow that code.
So we have a motion. And we have a second. Second, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Any further discussion, questions, concerns?
Well, respectively, I think that's exactly what we have done. Management sets the salary or the range, and council gives the final blessing. So as far as I'm concerned, that's what's been taking place. I've been on here 5 years, and that's what I've experienced.
So there's not been any appointed a person come in and ask for a raise, and council approves that?
I'm just telling you that management has handled it in a manner, and they determine the salary range, and he or she presents it to council, and we all vote. That's the way I've seen it for the last 5 years. Now,
And y'all are
Holly,
looking at me, so I've only been part of this back in the 2020 when these took place, and they absolutely came in this room, and it was absolutely a closed session. Those were all discussed by the council. Now, outside of that, there have not been any other than the comp study for appointed officials, except for what you all voted on unanimously 5-0 to approve back in March.
Can I ask a question? And I don't want to bring any names up.
And I wouldn't have spoke, but you all.
No, that's, and I may have misunderstood, and I don't want to bring up any names, but I was thinking there was, an appointed employee came in and asked you specifically
Sure.
for a
And that
raise,
came right back into the council.
but not everybody agreed to that.
It's not required that everybody agree. It's required that 3 of you.
Was that in where that lump sum was? And there was a couple of appointees? I can't remember. I tried to find that out.
I don't think so, because in 2020, when you first came on, that person was not here. It was later, but it absolutely came to the council, and you were part of those discussions. You may not have agreed, but the council majority did. So there was nothing, the council, I know that I know that you have a philosophical difference in saying this, but the council agreed. You didn't. The council did. Does that make sense? I mean, that's what happened.
But from my understanding, there wasn't like a job difference anyway. It was just
But that's not the question you're asking. You're asking if the council approved it.
okay. So the prior attorney, if I can say that, she didn't walk in and or they didn't walk in and just say, hey, I would like this raise. And
I'm not saying this person did or didn't. I'm saying that the council approved it.
No documentation.
It was not
a.
There was not a vote out here to do it. So if that's the change you want to make, is to make a vote, that's fine. But to suggest that the council was not apprised of it or part of the decision-making process is not true.
What was the procedure that they followed to make that decision if it wasn't done out here in the public? What was the procedure that was followed? Was it by phone call? Was it by
No,
email?
there was a discussion in closed session about that it was going on.
So then it should have been voted on out here in the public.
That's possible, but that's true.
That's the procedure. That's the procedure, not. It should have been done publicly so the public could know what's going on. So in the future, that procedure needs to be followed, if that's the procedure.
With those appointees at that time, I was not in agreement at all, because that was the year with no adjustments supposedly, and I stand by that. And here, for no justification, there were raises given, from my understanding, but yet I'm asking for someone who does a job, extra job duties, to get granted, and it was denied. I'm sorry.
I understand. I think just to add some context to that situation, I do believe that the employee was coming up on their 6-month evaluation. That is when employees go off their probation. And in most cases, I'm not going to sit here and tell you every single case, but most of the time, particularly most of the time at that 6-month period, that is when salary adjustments are often made. If you go through those pay change forms that you have, you're going to see a bunch in there, I suspect, that say 6-month evaluation, because that's when people go off of probation, technically.
But it wasn't anywhere in the discussion because of how much the prior attorney made.
I didn't say that.
That's all. Thank you.
In the future, I think that when there is a discussion and a determination is made, it needs to be made in session so that the public is aware. I certainly want to be fair to everybody.
And the reason why I mentioned that amount is because from what I can recall, and I could be wrong, that what was given, because the one, wanted to be equal to her male counterpart, and then the other one I think was given, and I don't know if they were given extra duties. I'm not aware of it. Like I said, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because they are given extra, and I just would like something like a justification for it.
Okay, so we have a motion that made that consider a pay raise of,
This is the Madam Mayor, this is the motion that, for appointed officials, and the clerk can read it to you, that for appointed officials, the council will discuss and vote on. Madam Clerk, can you correct that?
That's correct. That's what you voted on now.
sorry. All right, so we have that motion, and we have a second.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion?
What specifically, I know you gave us the code section. Do you recall?
Don't have that,
Okay.
Madam Johnson, I apologize, I did not pull that again for you today.
Okay, thank you.
I can definitely send it to you after.
Okay, thank you.
And I do appreciate you being able to answer that question too.
Right, so the motion before us, make sure I get it straight, is that council is to be,
Council is to, when we have an appointed employee that was appointed by council, we should be discussing their performance review, their salary increases. They should be done by council.
That's it,
Madam Clerk, what was the original
And-
motion?
No.
Would you have I would suggest you have the clerk read the motion, because that's what you're bound by.
Okay,
It's what was said. Madam Clerk, would you please?
Yes, the motion is that all appointed official salaries be discussed and voted upon by council.
okay. There you go.
all right, so we have that motion. From us. Do we have a second?
Second, Mayor Taylor.
Motion is second. No more further discussion. Council to,
Do just what she said. That's the Madam Clerk said.
further discussion. All right.
Now, I do have one. I know Vice Mayor said something about when we approved the budget thing, but I would like those to come before us.
You feel like you don't want management to make any decision at all as to what salary the appointed people get? Is that what you're saying, Holly?
Correct, yes, ma'am. Because I think the
You think management should not have any say-so as to what their salary will be, period?
how does, do you know how the
I want to make clear that's what you're telling me.
I want to follow the code. We need to follow the code.
Code's already the law. You don't have to have a motion. Code is already, town code is already in effect. So the motion that's before you, it's really, at this point, you had a motion and a second. You can continue to have discussion, but you're bound by what that original motion was that the clerk's read to you. Now, you can make additional motions down the road. At this point, you have to address the motion as it was read. And I'm just trying to make sure you stay right from parliamentary procedure wise.
And that is,
So Ms. Corbin has read that motion to you. That's what you're voting on after you're finished with your discussion.
Ms. Corbin, for my sake, would you please read it again?
Yes, ma'am. The motion is that all appointed officials' salaries be discussed and voted upon by council.
Be discussed by council and voted on.
Yes, ma'am.
And to be clear, I have no objection.
Just want to make sure.
Mr. Freeman, I just want to make sure it's nothing against you
I
either.
appreciate it.
mean,
And I just want to
I
make sure I
promise
have
you.
no objection to that.
I just want to
Not at
follow.
all.
I just want to follow code, and it's nothing against you.
No, I appreciate it.
And so we do have a motion. We had a second. We're in dialogue. Is everybody, any other? So roll call vote. That would, Mr. Gilman.
Patterson, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Johnson,
So that particular motion passes. And I think we've addressed everything that we have on our agenda. So, this is any, sorry, we'll go ahead and close this meeting. Thank you, everybody.